The story of the transfiguration on Mount Tabor. For most of us, transfiguration is like a miracle, but it's more a kind of an event that is unexpected. A miracle is like, somebody is healed, someone has a nearly impossible situation, like made possible, someone gains something. Now, in this transfiguration, it's more a kind of a scenario, like the burning bush that Moses experienced in the Old Testament. This is from St. Mark. The Gospel is the shortest among those four that we have in the Bible. Quite to the point. But we can refer to the other Gospels there. Maybe at least turn you to St. Luke to understand transfiguration better. Now St. Luke will tell us more than what we see in Mark. Mark is just 16 chapters. Here in St. Luke there's more chapters, and they will tell us about Jesus going on the journey towards Jerusalem, where he was being rejected, crucified. He had to die and rise again. And so this story of the transfiguration in Mark, what is its relation then to us all? So with Luke helping us on that extra or more, like a kind of futile kind of situation for Jesus. You know why? Because at that time, the human Jesus was like full of fear and apprehension. What's happening? His popularity was waning. People were like turning against him. Lots of opposition, especially from the temporal authorities, because of his teaching. Of course, when he started, the 3 years that we know of him, he had lots of support, and especially his close circle, the disciples, and from the apostles that he has chosen. It was okay. But more and more people got to know him. So his ministry became quite popular, and there were others watching him. So what happens when you are too popular? You may be taking over, In fact, the people are hoping that, were hoping at the time that you would take over from that foreign power, the Romans, and give them some freedom, some liberation. It's like a political situation. Then Jesus himself declared, and that is from Gospel of St. John. Yeah, my kingdom is not of this. What you think, what you are thinking. My kingdom comes from the will of the Father. That kind of thing. So giving you this kind of picture now, we just see what does transfiguration signifies. It's like Jesus, we know him now as the Son of God, but he is also fully human. And then when they were alone at the mountain, that veil is lifted up, and they could see him for a while, and it's a glimpse of him as God, the Son of God. With Elijah there, with Moses. Elijah represents the prophets. Moses brought the law, the way of life. From the commandments we know, if you want to love God, you have to love your neighbors, that kind of thing. And prophets basically on justice, on fairness for all people. And they were talking to him. So what happens when Jesus went up to the mountains to pray to his Father in silence and no one is seeing on his own? It's like the veil now lifted up, probably this is happening. He was speaking with higher beings. But the disciples were to be apostles, and they were to be so influential in their life. St. Peter being the first pope, the vicar of Christ. Then we have St. John. Now we have his gospel attributed to him in the book of Revelation. His brother James. They were given a chance together with Peter to see for a while this joy, this glorious scenario that is also a depiction of the glorious nature of Jesus, like a glimpse of heaven for a while. But we have a problem here, my dear friends. Peter, representing us, would like to cling to this joy for a longer period of time, if possible forever. Sometimes we wonder whether we could also stick to our joy for a long time. There's only a glimpse. To stick to the joy and not letting go of the joy becomes an obsession. Becomes something, for example, you love to drink Coca-Cola. Non-stop drinking Coca-Cola. You like beer? Beer non-stop. You eat char siu siew non-stop. That kind of thing. You can't. And so, for a while, he didn't know what he was talking about. A representation of our quest for convenience, comfort. And today in this world is that, basically maximum. Everything that's offered to us is that, but with a price. With a price that can destroy us in the process. And things were back to square one after a voice was heard by them. And a voice, you and I have heard from the gospel, this is my son, the beloved, listen to him. What is so great about the transfiguration then if it's just temporary? Not only Jesus was scared. Now this is like very bad to say Jesus is scared, but being human, who is not scared? We have so many great guys, even of our country, but when the authorities get the better of them, they are forced out. Intimidation, blackmail. Anywhere, it happens anywhere. They'll fix you up, that's all. Because you're too smart, talk too much. And maybe you're hitting your conscience as a priest, for example. Or someone who's actually a prophet but talking on behalf of society. But still, being human, we have limited strength. And the transfiguration gives Jesus that strength. Encouragement, we would like to think from Elijah, from Moses, reminding him they're always with him. Despite his suffering, his fear, they will be with him in spirit. And then the voice of the Father telling him. For Peter, James, and John to hear, they too would sort of have a little hope sustained in them. And this would grow, especially during that real time, when the time comes for the passion and death of Jesus. Made real when they realized that the resurrection was true. And that in fact sustained until today, you and I are here. And this same voice that we are talking about, very seldom we get from God himself. Just like Moses, from his experience in the burning bush. What would kill his voice? Now the temple authorities, the Pharisees, the high priests, they are meant to be good. But what got the better of them? Envy, jealousy, insecurity. What about all the prophets in the Bible that we heard of? Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Amos, all of them were also under some kind of pressure. From who? From those who abuse authority. Nobody quite like to hear the truth. So we have to disprove all these people by saying that they're talking nonsense, irrelevant points, or whatever they're doing. Do we realize that evil can come from within us too? As authorities, even as Christians on the matter. But when truth is spoken, we indirectly can heed Christ and heeding those who represent him. Intimidation. How can we intimidate? Many ways, right? How do you intimidate your spouse, your children? How do you integrate the priest on a matter? Now we talk about the voice in this Lenten campaign. The voice, what voice are we talking about? Okay, we may not get a transfiguration to hear from God Himself. You've seen the video. The voice, the cries of the people who are suffering. When Jesus suffered, He shouted out, Lord, why did you forsake me? Why am I forsaken? Why have I got to go through all this? And where are you? Now many also ask this question when they are suffering, isn't it? Not just when we are poor, when we lose a child through an accident, when we lose many things in life, money, when we lose our status, we lose our marriage, maybe the priesthood for the matter, then we cry out. And the rest of us, are we listening to this cry? How did it happen? And are we helping one another? Now, if Lenten campaign is just money, it doesn't look much, you know. Through a small gesture like sharing our resources, is one step towards caring for human beings, or shall I say, fellow human persons. The least we can do. In all our struggles in life, in all our roles, a bit of kindness. Acknowledgement. That's all. Of course, we make mistakes. We want dialogue. Not just devil kind of a debate. We want constructive help from one another, not destructive remarks. That way, we can grow. Because arrogance and pride won't last long. The day when we face the Lord, all this will work. And so, my dear friends, the disciples got a glimpse of God, the glimpse of glory and the transfiguration. And that was to sustain them through the disgrace of Jesus, of none other than Jesus Himself. That's why we have Lenten campaign, to remind us again. In fact, we were so close to God at that moment. At times when we do, we close to God. But not when He so-called only when He answers our prayer. The reasons why He do not want to sort of show that everything we ask we get. Let's claim back our human dignity, my dear friends. It's not easy because we have stolen a lot of our human dignity. A lot. One way we can is to acknowledge the genuine presence of God. And to acknowledge the presence of God in each and every one of us. Does it pain us to see someone on the roadside, for example? I was coming last night from Medina. So we were passing by here, just in front of that gate, I saw someone squatting there. And it was drizzling. When I came back, immediately I went out. But the person was missing from there. Because if I were to stay on and then don't really bother, I can't sleep. Can you? I don't know. Not really. I mean, I'm in my room all locked up, I cannot. This guy is always downstairs here. I was told that many help is given to him, but he seemed to can't really accept the help. So he'd rather be there. I said, leave him alone. But the reaching out is important whether we care. Listen to that voice, not just voice of God, but the voice of a human whom God has created. He speaks to us now, my dear friends. In many ways. Start with our close circle of even a particular sibling we may consider as the black sheep of the family. Don't care about you, maybe a drug addict, maybe this, maybe that. Starting from our own circle. See how difficult it is before we talk about real justice for our outside world. So my dear friends, the transfiguration is not just a story for us like, wow, big magic, you know. It's always a message there. And maybe Continue to listen to His voice and believe that the Word of God will find Himself.